Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. We'll be starting very shortly. Thanks for joining us. You might have noticed that we are in a new tool today, so I'll show you around that a little bit. But excited to have you here with us talking about building a community of engaged learners here with Padlet. So actually, as we get started, actually, I'm going to make this a little bigger. So we are trying a new tool called Big Marker. So you'll notice that it has a lot of similarities to Zoom, but it has a few differences as well. So just to give you a little tour around here, on your right side, you still have the chat. So here you can type in a message. So if you want to try that out, say hello to us. You can introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, what your role is. Give the chat a try right here. You can type your message. Over here you also have a Q&A similar to Zoom. And there's a couple other things that might be slightly different. There's something called handouts right here. That has the main link to the page that I'll be presenting on. So you can click over there to find it. We'll also put some of these things in the chat so they're easy to find. You also have a little CC button here for closed captioning. So if you want to have closed captioning in a different language, you can click on that. And then right here on the bottom, you have some emoji reactions, which are always fun. So feel free to try those out as we're going along here. So Julia has already said hello in the chat. Oh, great. Feel free to introduce yourself as well right over there in the chat. And also let us know if you have any questions, if you're confused about anything. We're really excited to try out Big Marker today and would love your feedback on how it feels on your end as well. I think it'll be very similar to Zoom and it has a few extra little fun things that we'll share as we go along. Great, I see some people from all over. Brazil, Houston, Madison. Lovely. Well, welcome everyone. We're excited to see you today. Thanks for joining. It's early our time here in San Francisco, but it's a fun way to wake up and see all of you. So let's keep going here. So I know some of you have been to our sessions before, so welcome back. But if you're new to our sessions, my name is Zareen Levien. I'm the Education Marketing Manager here. I've been here for about 1.5 years. I'm looking forward to, in a few months, I can start saying 2 years, which is a nice round number. I've met some friends this last weekend, and there was one girl who was 11 and one girl who was 7.5. And that half really matters when you don't have as many years. But anyway, nice to see you all again. Before I was at Padlet, I was a teacher for a long time here in San Francisco, high school, elementary, and then I was a digital learning coach for many years. So these are some of my students in the past. And so excited to show you, I keep thinking about my students and try to really hold that at the forefront of all the activities that we shared, thinking about how it would play for students and how it would really help them learn and help them be engaged. So that's the inspiration behind this session, trying to make all of your learners engaged learners, having fun, and also engaging with the content that you want them to learn about. And excited to have my partner in crime here, Julia, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, of course. I'm Julia. I'm the product marketing manager at Padlet, and I'm coming up on 5 years at Padlet. But even though I've been here for longer than Zareen, she keeps me fresh, and so I'm here just to learn as much as everyone else is. And I'm excited to see how she pulls together some of our old and our new features into some engaging community activities.
Great. All right, so I see some people already chatting over here. And a reminder that we have that Q&A button too. It'll make it a little easier to find questions if you want to stick things in there. Oh, good, I see some people already in there as well. Okay, so here's our simple agenda today. We have a 30-minute session. We'll do a few getting started things. And then I have some new ideas to share with you and some resources to share with you. The hope today is that I know a lot of people are either coming back from summer break here in the Northern Hemisphere in the US, but also coming back from maybe another vacation break if you're living elsewhere. But the idea is you can hopefully use some of these ideas right away. So towards the end of our session, I'll remind you how to remake Padlets and maybe choose one that you saw today that you want to try, that you either build or that you remake from one of the examples that I've showed. And then we also have some resources that you can always walk away with. Okay, so we're jumping into some ideas first. So this first idea is we've used AI images in a lot of ways. Actually, I'm going to back up for 1 second. I'm just going to, I know there's always a few folks who are newer to Padlet, so I'm going to do my just very quick little tour of Padlet here. If you are brand new to Padlet, you can go to padlet.com, you can make a free account, and you can do all the things that I'm sharing today. When you get into Padlet after you've signed up, you can click on the Make page. And here you can make your own Padlets. So as we're going along today, if anything's resonating, you can make it yourself, and I'll show you those steps. You can make it in a few different ways. You can make a board, and that's what I'm on right here with all these kind of post box on here. You can also make a whiteboard, and that's called a Sandbox. You can see examples of those things here. And then there's some AI tools down below here where you can use those to also make Padlets. When you have made a Padlet, I'll do that really quickly here. You can see it's very quick to make your own Padlet. I can ask a simple question here. I can choose a format. And then one of my favorite things is you can just share this URL. And then when you click on the plus button here at the bottom, you have many attachment types. So you and your students can use all of these different things to share. The one I'm going to talk about first is this AI image tool, which can be a lot of fun. So you can put in anything in here, and it's a really fun way to create images, either to share something about yourself, to make silly images, or to enhance something that you're studying. So that's what this first example is about, different ways to use the AI image. So this one, I'll put the link in the chat for this if you want to join me on this Padlet. And this one is to make a picture of yourself in any historical time period. And the idea is here, this could just be a fun way to make an AI image, or it could be about something you're actually studying. If you're studying the Civil War or the American Revolution or any of those things, you could kind of make images that go along with that, either of yourself and all of the students in your class, or just other images that are relevant. So if you want to come to this page and click on the plus button with me here. Oh, good. I see some people joining here. I've put the AI image as the only attachment type, so you can click on that next. And then you can describe yourself. This is always the part that I always find very interesting, is how to describe ourselves to make it look like ourselves. So I'm going to put in a description of myself. So I said woman with dark hair, brown skin, big eyes. And then I've always dreamed of being a 1920s jazz singer, so I might as well do that. So you can put in anything that might be fun to find some images, and then find one that you like here, and then hit publish. You can also put a title, which I didn't put in there. I'll put the Roaring 20s. So you can go ahead and play around with this AI image generator. You can make a person here as you're trying, or if you want to try something else, you're totally welcome to do that as well. So I'll give you a minute to try that out. Maybe I'll make another one here. I was trying to make my husband in this one. It doesn't look exactly like him, but it was fun to try. Let's see, maybe so you can try out different kinds of description. This can also be a good way to practice descriptive language. So if you're not quite getting what you want, adding a few more adjectives and having students kind of think about how they're describing things really specifically so that they get an image that they really want here. Oh, great question. So we use a number of AI tools in Padlet. I like this drummer one. So we use a couple of different ones. So and the reason is because we want to have the best educational models. So we use Hive, we use ChatGPT, which is OpenAI. We also use Claude and Gemini, and we use all of those paid versions of those tools so that all of your prompting is private. So any information that you pass in there is passed back to us privately, because that's really important to keep that information private. But yeah, happy to share more information about our AI tools. And we always mention more than one because we're actually constantly monitoring who has the best outputs and who has the best tools, and bringing back that information for you as we get going. We also have educational models of all of these. So we've kind of built up our own instructions for these AI tools to try to make them output really good information. And also we have some filters on there so that you can't make inappropriate images. So these are really cool. So you can imagine students having fun with this as you're embarking upon a new unit, if you're studying a different historical time period, or just as a fun way to think about different time periods. Another thing I've heard people do with AI tools is kind of the other direction, thinking about your future self. So if you're thinking about different careers you might have, prompting the AI to be myself as a whatever it is, computer programmer, lawyer, doctor, whatever they want to be in the future. So that's another way you might use this AI tool. Another thing that we've done in the past, if you've been on our past webinars, is just sharing your favorite hobbies. So I could say something like myself playing soccer or playing music or my favorite animal. So there's a lot of different things you could do here, very open-ended. Okay, so that's our quick historical me. This next one that I'll put in the chat here is a game called This or That, which you might have played in the classroom, but can also be done with polls online. So same thing here if you want to join me on that Padlet that I just put in the chat. And then you can come here and answer these poll questions. So which food is better? Then you hit vote when you're ready. Which pet? And for these polls, I just put 2 options for these first couple 3. You can put up to 4 options, like right here. I also showed a few different ideas of just questions about yourself, like what you like, and then maybe questions about school. So this is something I used to do with my students. I think I used to do it actually on paper and pencil to find out what they liked, or raising hands, or kind of some of those offline methods. But you could do it on a Padlet as well. And I actually really found that useful to ask them about how they like to experience school at the beginning of the year and get their feedback. So these questions are about, do you like to work in a group or alone? Do you like to write or speak in front of the class better? Do you like whole group, small group, quiet studying, or background music? So the more information I would gather about them, then I could really customize the experience of things for them. If most people really loved having background music, I could do that instead of quiet, or vice versa. So you could have a whole set of questions that you kind of collect about your students, what they like about school at the beginning of the school year, or after you come back from a break, even mid-year. If I wanted to make a poll, you do those same steps to make a blank Padlet, and then you come to the plus button over here. And then if I go to my attachment types I can go to +14 to find all of them. And poll is right here. So here I can write any kind of poll question I want. And then you can even have students do that, which could be fun. So you could ask them some questions and then say, what questions do you have for your classmates, and have them add a few poll questions. I know that's something that it's been a favorite thing that I used to do, and my kids sometimes do, is like poll their friends about what their favorite, whatever it is, video game character or food or whatever it is. So they can ask each other their own questions. And then you could also even do an extension. Once you have these results, you can show them here, and it does a little bar graph for you and puts in the percentages. You could also have students make these graphs if you wanted to kind of take these numbers and have them make their own different kinds of graphs. If you want to do pie chart, bar graph, whatever is relevant to what you're studying. Oh, and great, I love this. So you can also put a comment here, because I turned on commenting. So I like to do that sometimes when I have polls. If none of these answers apply, or if you can't decide exactly, you can expound on what you would do differently, or that kind of thing. So great, so we can see these results. If I wanted to see them bigger, I can play any Padlet as a slideshow, which I was doing on the other Padlet. And then I can display the results a little bigger here. This will also continue to update dynamically. So this slideshow is really nice, because if I have any media, if I have polls, or if I have media like video or PDFs, they all function in the slideshow version as well. It's just a nice way to display a little bit bigger. Good question. So in this sense, the poll questions are public, but it doesn't show you who voted for what for these polls. There are some other ways you can collect information from students privately, and we get that question a lot. The easiest way is if you just ask a question on a Padlet, and then turn on moderation. And that means their answer to the question won't be visible for everyone else unless you approve it. So under settings right here, I have some moderation options. So I could turn on manual moderation, and then when anybody makes a post, I'll have to approve it before it goes live. So that's the easiest way to kind of collect an answer privately. Yeah, and that's right. So if you reply but don't vote, you don't see the results, right? So you have to vote in there, and then you can see the results, even if you kind of put there. So that's interesting, Katie. Yeah, it might be helpful to kind of be able to see that. So we appreciate all of your feedback as we go along here. Thanks for participating. Okay, let's try the next one, and then more of you. This is one of my favorite ones. A colleague of mine, Clea Matson, made this for me, and I will put this in the chat next. So this is on our whiteboard tool. So you see that the layout is a little bit different. It's a whiteboard here, and you have some tools on the right-hand side. You can write text and put shapes and images. I actually limited the tools, so you just have a few things on here based on our activity. Let me see quickly what our numbers are looking like. Okay, we'll just go ahead with this. Oh yeah, okay, good. Okay, so here is an activity called correlation versus causation, where we're gonna look at some different graphs. And I'll show you the example. And yes, you can draw on here and write on here, so feel free to play with that. And there's also pages or cards here down the left-hand side. So this is a fun activity, and I put this in kind of under a humor category. And one of my favorite things about Padlet is that it makes people have fun and laugh while they're doing something related to your academics or just getting to know each other. So this one has some interesting graphs, and where you can talk about if different numbers in graphs are causing the numbers to be similar, or if they just happen to be correlated, and kind of the funny juxtaposition of that correlation. So in this case, the two lines here are how many letters are in the winning word of the National Spelling Bee, the Scripps National Spelling Bee. So that's the red one. So over the years, more words are needed to win the spelling bee. And that happens to correlate with this black line of the number of people killed by venomous spiders. So you can see the graph here. So when there was a lot of words needed to win the spelling bee, unfortunately, a lot of people were killed by venomous spiders. So the idea is here that students would talk about that in the group, look at the data, and then make up a headline that would be kind of funny about those two things together. So here's some examples of that. Spiders hunting sensational spellers, or spiders despise big words. So I invite you to kind of, somebody's already added an image, that's great. So if you want to add an image here, or if you want to add in your own headline, go ahead and do that for this one. And then there's a few other ones. So go ahead and if some people want to start from the bottom and go up to have a little more space, you can do that, or you can just all go through here. So here's the next one. And I invite you to follow along with me on the left-hand side. This next one is in black, American cheese consumption, and in red, the popularity of the "this is fine" meme, which is this one right here. These are from a few years ago, but you might remember that one. So you can add your own images here if you want, or add your own text in here for a headline or a reflection about the correlation of those two graphs. And then feel free to keep playing with any of these that spark your attention. I'll just go through the next couple ones. The next one is UFO sightings in South Carolina in black, and the total number of successful Mount Everest climbs in red. So we can, the things that came to mind are maybe the top of Mount Everest. There's some connections with UFOs. Who knows? I haven't been up there, but you could make some fun correlations there as well. And then this last one is Google searches for how to go to space and Chipotle Mexican Grill's stock price. So you can make your own conclusions there as well. So I'll let you kind of think about that, add some fun things here. Oh, these are great. So I'll let you play with that and add some fun headlines. And while you do that, I'll just show you on the first page There's a source here that these graphs come from, so you can check out that page if you want to, some other fun ones there, or you could find your own too. And I'll also show you a few more things about Sandbox as we go along here. So under my settings tool, I just enabled these particular tools to kind of show that as an example, because these are the tools that we would want in this exercise. I'm going to come back to Padlet. If I were making my own new Sandbox or whiteboard, it would start like this. And I would have many more tools here. So I have shapes, I have images, I have actually all of the same attachment types you have on regular Padlet. So I can still do my AI images, I can record video or audio, screen recording. So I have many options, but I can also limit those for activities if that seems helpful. And then I can add more cards like we had in that last example. And I can start from a template if I want to. So there's lots of tools to kind of help you build things, or you can copy some of the examples that I've showed you. Okay, well, thank you for participating on here. These are great images and some funny headlines as well. So that can be a fun way to start it off and have some group work and some conversation. Okay, I'll put in here also, this is from a webinar that I did maybe a couple months ago. There's a bunch more community builders. Maybe some of these will resonate with you as well for beginning of the year. You can do something like a map and have students post about where they're from or where their family is from. And same thing, you just make a map format, and then you can add a post here with the location and then some information here. There's a few other ones here. Food is always a good one. What's your favorite food? I mentioned this earlier. You could do some different things with those AI images. These were some hybrid animals we were playing with. That was kind of fun. Or make your dream pet you could do as a real animal or imaginary animal. So a bunch more ideas here for you to explore. And then next, I would love to get your feedback a little bit. Let me grab this link. I think this is the right one. Okay. Oh, yes, let me try. Okay, great. So I'm going to go into, if you want to join me on this Padlet, here I have linked in some of the things we just looked at and would love to get your thoughts on these. If any of them are standing out to you. Actually, let me change one thing. I'm just going to put this onto likes instead. You have some different options for reactions in here. Okay, great. So if you come onto this Padlet and then if you liked any of the examples, you thought, oh, I would really love to do that causation correlation, I can come here and click on a like here. And if I liked any of these other examples, also, if you have any of your own ideas that are related or new, add that here as well. So you could put in a comment here, I'd love to try this, and then I'm going to hit this pink arrow. These comments can also have multimedia, so I can hit on the plus button next to a comment here. And I can add an image comment or an AI image comment. So I have these different categories of things that we just looked at. I also included a few other ideas here. So we talked about historical me or future me. There could also be superhero me as an AI image. You could design your own pet. You could just have students talk about their favorite things. So that's what this one is, a favorite animal, a favorite food, and a favorite activity that you could put into the AI prompt. So you could do something like that. And this is one of my favorites. This was an idea from a teacher taking a book that they've read. Maybe they had some summer reading, or during the year, maybe you're all reading something. So putting in those books that they've read and then having them design their own book cover with an AI image. So taking what they know about the book. So for example, if I read Refugee, this was an exciting part, I can come here to the plus sign, add an AI image, and then prompt it with whatever happened in the book that I thought was cover worthy and make my own cover. And you could have all your students comment on a post with their own book cover. So a lot of things you can do with AI images that really connect to what you're doing in class and to really help them think about their learning and create with their own ideas in a different way. So if you liked any of those ideas, you could comment on here and say one that you liked. Here are some, we did these polls of this or that. Here are some more poll ideas, some other questions here. Best ice cream flavor, best music, best superpower. So you could copy any of these if you wanted to. Some other things you could do on Sandbox are linked in here, so you could click into these to check them out. What's something you would bring on a desert island? Or you could ask, do you love it or hate it? And people could put in their initials or name and then decide where they fall on the spectrum here. And then, oh, I like this one too. This is a mood meter. So you could have this, I don't know if anyone's seen this before, but this is a grid of how high energy you are. So high and low energy. And how good you feel, pleasant and unpleasant. So if you're really happy but feeling really chill, you would be down here somewhere. If you're really excited and amped up, you'd be up here. So you can have students come on here and add their emojis or their initials as an opening activity as well. We used to do this in our class actually on a physical poster board as well, so people could move their names around, but this would be a digital version of that. Oh, great, I see some comments here. Well-being check-ins are great. Cool. Yeah, it's a great idea about exploring different countries and different dialects that they speak. And if you teach students virtually, it's also really useful to kind of share a little bit. So, so I showed that map earlier. Here's a few other map ideas as well. A book map, so showing where a book took place, like the setting of a book. You could plot those on a map. With more information or a rating or a description. And then this one was kind of fun too. One of our users in Korea did this with their students, map of places to eat in my neighborhood. So students came in here and they made posts of things in their neighborhood that they really liked. So you could do a very local map like this, or you could do more international map. Great. Well, thank you for giving some feedback on that. I see that our graphs here are the most popular right now, but a lot of interest across the board here. Okay. Oh, yes. The one bonus thing I wanted to, before I show you a little bit more about how to remake things, is we also have a new tool that you might have seen already, or you might not have. It's very new, called Padlet TA. So let me put that link in the chat. Padlet TA. I'll show you also where to get there. If you're on Padlet, let me come back to Padlet. There's a link here right at the top for TA, stands for teaching assistant. This also makes lots of different things, but makes documents instead of collaborative boards. So here I can make things like lesson plans, worksheets, coloring sheets. So you can click on any of these and prompt with AI to make something. If you put in your teacher profile or put in your grade level here, it will also come up with some suggestions for you on the side, or you can write your own information here. So similarly to how you would prompt ChatGPT, you can prompt things in Padlet TA and it'll make something for you. So here it's going to make me a multiple choice quiz in a minute. But as I was saying, it can also make you a presentation or a lesson plan or a rubric, all kinds of things. And it's all free. So if you are on Padlet TA, I'll come back while it's loading here. You can come in here to TA, make as many things as you want, and just play around with it. I recommend putting in your teacher profile just to make those recommendations more relevant. And the one I wanted to highlight today, this is now loading. There's my multiple choice quiz about similes and metaphors, and also has the right answer in here. So really fun. The one I wanted to highlight today is a newer feature of Padlet TA, which is coloring sheets. So it's one of the things that's available. Sorry, I keep going back and forth. It's one of our new little tools right here. I can make a coloring sheet about anything. So some of the ones that I tried making are over here. I made the hero's journey. So whenever you make one of these things, you can export it in many ways to PDF or to Cami if you wanted to edit it more. I also used to love these mandalas. You could make any of these in different designs. You could make something that's about a specific holiday, like Dia de los Muertos. Or you could make something that's more like a poster for your class. Like here's one about the water cycle. So you can make a lot of different visuals here, either for coloring sheets for students, and really that can be older or younger students, or you can make something that's more like a poster that you want to have displayed. Oh yeah, let me answer that question about teacher profile. So in Padlet TA, you can use your same Padlet login that you can make for free. And then once you come here, you can click on your little icon in the upper right, and then you can come here to teacher profile. And so here's where you would put your grade level, any standard you use or curriculum, and what school you teach at. And then what's going to happen is up here on the top, it'll update the suggestions for you. Or if you click into any of these tools, it'll also have related suggestions for you. Yeah, so I'm excited for you to try that out a little bit more. I just wanted to highlight those coloring sheets as a newer part of that we've recently launched. Okay, wow, things are going quickly. So in these last couple of minutes, I just wanted to go over quickly how you would make a new Padlet or remake any of the examples that I've shown today. So for example, if I really liked this calculations, the correlation and causation, if I want my own copy of this, there's a remake button right here in the upper right. It looks like these two arrows pointing at each other. So I would go like this. And then I have some options. I can make my own title, and I can decide if I want everything, or usually I do this, admin only, because then it doesn't have the student responses in there. It only has kind of what the teacher put on the board. So admin only, and then I'm going to remake it. And that's how simple it is. So with any of the Padlets that I showed you today, you can remake your own copy. And again, if you don't have a Padlet account, you can make a free Padlet account, and then you can have your own copy of this and then use that with your students. If you want to share it, you can just share this link from up above here, or I can click on the sharing arrow to find a few more options like a QR code if we're on phones or on tablets, or I have a few other options here for sharing. So yeah, I encourage you to think about one of these examples that I shared and either remake it or make your own Padlet, maybe inspired by something, or maybe it made you think of something else that could be fun. On this board, I also put a link to our help article about remaking Padlets in case you want to kind of read about that a little bit more. Okay, wow, the time went by quickly. Thank you for all your participation. I'm going to try something new and fancy that Big Marker has for us. We have a feedback form, and I think I can share it with you all here. I'm going to give this a try. I know the anticipation is building. Okay, here it is. Please complete the short feedback form. So there it is. And I will also put it in the chat in case that's easier to grab. And Julia, while we're just wrapping up, any questions you want to highlight? I know we got to the end quickly, but.
No questions. I think you did a good job explaining everything, and I think all the questions are answered unless anyone has any last minute things they want to drop into the chat or the Q&A.
Okay, great. Well, thank you all for coming and participating. There's the feedback form. Really appreciate your feedback and to try to make these sessions better. Anything you want to learn about in the future, please put in there. And any specific feedback you have about this new tool, Big Marker, that we're trying out today. How did you like it? Did it seem easy or hard, or anything was that you suggest for the future? I have some other resources here at the bottom, some FAQs, more sessions coming up this month. So I'll put in our Padlet sessions page. And then what else? We also have a PD course here in case you want more, especially if you're newer to Padlet and you want to kind of back up and get the basics. I'll put that in the chat as well. So we have, I'll click into this. This is just a self-serve asynchronous course. You can take the basics here or one specifically about AI. And these are videos you can watch, and then you can get a certificate of completion at the end. So check those out if you want to learn more about Padlet. And thanks again for joining us today. We hope to see you at future sessions. We have sessions every Wednesdays, all the Wednesdays in August coming up. So hope to see you at one of those in the future. All right, bye-bye everyone.